Hi everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Daniel Breton. I am the President and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada. Let's start with a question. Raise your hand, everybody who came here by driving an electric car. So you are thought leaders, and I see the percentage of people driving an electric car, which is approximately, would say, 10%. So currently, sales of electric vehicles, we're at approximately 10% of EV sales in Canada. I grew up near refineries, so I was witness when I was a kid of explosions, spills, and fires. So obviously that had an impact on me. 50 years ago, what happened 50 years ago? We had an oil crisis. So I remember back then I started my ecology lessons, courses in high school, and we're talking about ways to get rid of our dependence on fossil fuel. And back then, we were talking about electric cars and hydrogen cars. I remember those. I remember those days. I was reading Popular Mechanics. For those of you who remember Popular Mechanics, and we're talking about, electric cars and flying cars as well. That didn't happen. And this is something that really had an impact on me because I said, we have to do better than this. 40 years ago, I was a student. I was assembling Monte Carlos at GM in Sainte-Thérèse. Obviously, the plant closed ever since then. And between the two, I work at a refinery, and the refinery closed a long time ago. So when we're talking about, energy transition, we have to talk about job transition as well. You've mentioned that. That's a great argument because I know we have one of our members, which is Unifor, because EMC has many members. We have 160 members who range from car manufacturer to research center to union, mining companies, and everything. And Concordia University is a member. And what we are aiming to do is to make sure that not only do we decarbonize the economy, we decarbonize transportation, but we create well-paid, sustainable jobs in the process. Now, let's go to 1994, when I met Karim Zaib. We've known each other for 30 years. So we started discussing, and I remember when I spoke about electric vehicles in Quebec, and Karim did as well, some people were thinking that I was crazy. And I remember a journalist said to me last year, he said, everybody thought you were crazy. I said, but you were right. You're still crazy, but you were right. So the thing is that things are moving forward in the right direction. In 2012, I was environment minister in Quebec. I was in charge of the electric mobility strategy for the government of Quebec. But while things have moved in the right direction in many ways, what I've seen in the past, I would say, year and a half or two, is a lot of backlash regarding electric mobility, And when I saw this, independent, complex, fact-based, my God, I almost had a heart attack. I've never written an op-ed, and I've done many in different media over the past decades to talk about issues. I studied climate change in university, so I would write about stuff that I know about. But nowadays, I read all these op-eds in the Globe and Mail, in the National Post, in Journal de Montréal, in La Presse about electric vehicles, and the level of misunderstanding, misinformation, disinformation is staggering. I'll give you an example. In 2016, I wrote a book about electric vehicles. I had 10 myths about EVs. This week, I'm finishing a new book that's going to be out in the fall. It's 50 myths about EVs. That's how crazy it's gotten. There's a lot of backlash these days, and it's becoming a culture war. If you drive an electric car, you're a left-wing liberal living in the city. What do you call them? Hipster? Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, I go to the House of Commons on a regular basis. I'm going to be there in 2 days to talk about energy transition. And I get these questions from elected officials who obviously either don't have a clue what they're talking about, or they're not interested under the political game, or all of the above. So it's not easy these days to talk about electric mobility, electrification of the economy. The grid won't hold, as you know. Electric cars all explode. They're worse for the environment. You've heard that, I'm sure. And I get that from people from the right wing and people from the left wing as well. So the level of misinformation, the level of discussion, the level of insults that I get on social media, I mean, I get 5 to 10 insults a day on social media when it comes to electric vehicles. And I get questions from media. Today, CTV did an interview. So would you like to comment on the fact that EV sales are going down? Well, actually, they're not. So I came up with with the answer, with the data. And it's as if the person was unhappy that I was correcting her. Last week, I was talking to someone from Radio-Canada. They said, well, would you like to comment on the fact that the price of charging an electric vehicle in Quebec is going to go up? Well, actually, it's not. So this is the type, I do about 200 to 250 interviews a year across Canada. And these days, not only social media, but regular media is doing a crappy job when we're talking about energy transition electric cars. I'm sorry to say this in front of you guys. You might be surprised, but the truth of the matter is that this is a big problem because the narrative has become very, very negative. I'll give you an example, another example. I did an interview at 4 this afternoon. Nouveau, which is a French-speaking TV network. And they said, well, we heard about the Northvolt project, battery project, and we hear that it's going to be a big problem. I said, no, it's not. I mean, the government handled it really badly, but it's a great project for the environment. So we have to find some nuance, look at the facts, but it's really complicated these days to get the facts through. So at EMC, we pride ourselves in coming up with good answers, good reflection, good discussion between members with partners, such as Karim, such as many others, to make sure that we get the right information through. And I'm very happy that Electric Autonomy does such a great job, at talking about electric cars and the future of mobility, because we don't have enough of those media that can cut through the crap. I'm sorry to say this, It's not axe the tax, it's cut the crap. So we need the support from people like you. We need to work together on this because I thought naively 10 years ago that by 2020 I would have nothing to say and everybody would have understood. Well, we have a long way to go. Thanks a lot.